Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today let's talk about Is Black Myth Wukong the best game of 2024, Game of the Year 2024? Yeah, let's talk about it. A lot of people have been hyping this game up, saying it's a great game, amazing, awesome game, and now that I've played it for about 7-8 hours, I'm on Chapter 2, maybe about halfway through. I'll just play at this boss fight right here. I would say, yeah, it's definitely a pretty good game. People are calling it a really good action RPG, Souls-like, whatever and what have you. People are being also really weird about, like, it's not a Souls-like, it is a Souls-like, it is just an action RPG like God of War. And I mean, like, yeah, guess what? A Souls-like is also pretty much an action RPG, but just tougher at this point. So it's all the same shit, different asshole. It's literally the same. I'll call it a Souls-like and I'll call it an RPG or whatever the hell. If you're gonna be weird about that, fuck off. That's about it. But it's a pretty good game. It plays like a Dark Souls game, plays like a God of War styled game. So same thing. It's all the same. Just melee centered RPG is essentially what's going on, with the same level of world building as something like God of War or definitely Dark Souls. And this game is pretty much Dark Souls or Neo 2 in the same sense of that. It has that vibe to it 100%. It's less open world than a Souls-like game for the most part. It's on, I would say, more of a linear path. It goes chapter through chapter, unlocking different areas, and you just can quickly search around a little bit of area before fighting the boss and like continuing on for the most part. So it's like a pseudo open world, not really, but we've seen this before in a lot of games. Not really too surprising. You can teleport to and from all of your resting points, the same as you would a bonfire. Everything's pretty regular there to teleport around the world. There's no world map, at least to my knowledge, as of right now, so you just kind of have to remember where a handful of things are. But at least on the teleport map, it does show you where enemies are. So, hey, a lot of secret bosses to find, and it's not really that hard to find them for the most part, as long as you search an area fully before going on to the next, like, straightforward path. You'll usually find most bosses. Some bosses, like one boss in Chapter 1, requires an item from Chapter 2 that I just finally got in order to go back and actually, like, fight the boss. So I would definitely recommend backtracking eventually, searching up bosses that you missed in the journal and finding out what is going on there, because there will be bosses that you'll fight later on and you can go back to fight bosses later on. So it's always really nice like that. There's no penalty for killing a boss early or ahead of time. So far, I've killed every boss and side boss as soon as I've seen them, or I just like quickly grinded a level or two before I fought them and then killed them, right? I haven't progressed past them, but yeah, it seems like you're good to not kill the side boss or kill all the side bosses and adventure around as much as you want. It's really up to you. You don't have to, but of course, if you search around and get all of the extra loot, you'll have a better time, more experience, right? Your skill tree will be more set up. You have a massive skill tree in this game, by the way, where it'll require hundreds of level up, sparks, skill points, if you will, in order to upgrade it. Since it is more like action RPG styled, I guess the skill tree is kind of more like God of War. Haven't played it though, so I can't say for sure. But essentially, you just upgrade some passives on the skill tree. You can upgrade your fighting style, dodging, stamina, health, everything. Your spells, your summons, your transformations. You can essentially just upgrade everything through the massive skill tree. I grinded out this boss for, I swear to God, like 3 hours. It was a huge pain. Not 3 hours, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes before I just left, upgraded my weapon, came back and killed it at one shot. So it is the style of game where you can always just F off, leave, come back and fight an enemy again. Lot to do overall. I would say it's 6 chapters total. This is what the first little area chapter looks like. And I must say that it has a good vibe to it. I've been enjoying it. Combat feels a little janky though here and there. It's not perfect. If I wanted to give the game a rating, it would probably be like 8 to 9 out of 10. It's a really good game, popping off. I want to say a lot of people are saying it's the first main AAA game out of China, and it's definitely doing great, killing it, and really fun. So they're doing great. 10 out of 10 would recommend at least trying it or looking into it if you like God of War or Souls-like styled games, because that's pretty much what this game is. Action RPG, Souls-like, call it whatever the hell you want to. Action ARPGs, like action RPG in my mind is like PoE, like ARPGs, right? So whenever I hear people call this an action RPG, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, there's so many like genre styles, and half of the time it's the same game but a little different. So yeah, hearing people call this game an action RPG is just making me laugh because I think of Path of Exile or Diablo. But running around the areas, listening to all of the music, all of the sounds, and just vibing is really nice, okay? I very much am planning to 100% all the bosses in this game and backtrack, and it's really not that hard. Chapter 1 took me 4, maybe 5 hours. Chapter 2, I'm about, 4 hours, 3 hours into it actually. So Chapter 1, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Chapter 2, maybe another 5, maybe 6, because it seems to be a little bit bigger. But you can always just grind out, check things out, and go back. I don't think I've missed anything huge yet, and I've just been having fun with it, so yeah, it's probably worth checking out. But since this game is more linear, it's just like you get to an area, like the checkpoint essentially, at a start of an area, and then there's the end of the area, and then there's stuff to search around for in the area between it. But you can usually tell when an area or section transfers off into another one. In Chapter 2, I've hit the point where I'm at a cross section where I took a left and that was one whole area there, and I'm kind of messing around there. And then I took a right and that was a separate area section there. And right now I'm going down the right section, and it's led seemingly into 2 linear paths. So you definitely still need to look around, because in those paths, there's a lot to find. I found NPCs, more items, more chests. I made sure to search and kill all of the enemies. I found random NPC BoJack Horseman guy. Like legitimately, there's a BoJack Horseman. He will be the thumbnail of this video because he looks cool. And he was just straight up tied up. I found him in the first chapter, and then I found him in the second chapter again, and there's a lot to find. There was an NPC after I looked around, and he wanted me to kill the boss after, like, I already killed the boss. So I just kept talking to him until his dialogue ran out, and then he left. I imagine I will see that NPC again later, so that's why I like to do all of my side content. It handles that the exact same how most the game is Dark Souls coded. It handles NPCs and items and everything the same as Dark Souls, but it's like more classified as an action RPG because it's not fully open world and you don't lose your experience or coin or anything on death. I know, right? It's all such the same in my mind now that people who have been arguing around what genre the game is, it just seems stupid, right? Because games are all just a genre mix now. Either way, whatever. It's a fun game, and I've been enjoying myself. You eventually unlock everything. You unlock different gear, different spirits, equipment, weapons, buffs, different gourds, different gourd upgrades. They actually do different things, like surprisingly different. First gourd you get just straight up heals you a good chunk at once. Second gourd you get, at least from what I've gotten, heals you a smaller chunk at once, but then it has a heal over time effect for like 5 seconds, and it overall heals you more than your first gourd, but it heals you less all at once. So yeah, it'll take you a lot of time to explore, okay? I don't think this game's anywhere as big as something like Dark Souls or Elden Ring. I think you'll get, depending on how good or bad you are at the game, a solid minimum 20 hours if you probably go through it really fast. On average, maybe though 30 hours, just from like me being on chapter 2, not even done chapter 2, and there being 6 chapters. I will continually stream this game and play it on YouTube and Twitch until I finish it here and there, and then maybe I'll have a final review and cut up some bosses. I don't know. Let me know what you think or what you'd prefer to see out of this game, because there's a lot of, I guess, some secret boss areas where, like in the first area, if you hit all 3 of the big bell chimes, it'll transport you to a secret boss area after, and you get more loot. So there's stuff you can do to make sure that you fight more bosses. There's a ton of side bosses, right? Like, this game's a ton of fun. I've played a lot of games, right? Souls-like, action RPGs here and there, more Souls-like. I played some God of Wars back in the day, but I haven't played the new ones. They were great games. I played Nioh a bit. It was really fun. Sekiro, really great. all of the Dark Souls, Elden Ring. I never played Demon Souls. And I've played another action RPG here and there called Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, right? They're all kind of similar, and they're all pretty good games. This game is also really good, but it's not perfect. Combat feels really janky for a while. Since you need to upgrade your combat skills, like you would in God of War, to fully unlock more combos, abilities to dodge, it just makes combat feel a little shitty in general. So I would actually prefer combat in other action RPGs like Dark Souls because you know exactly what to expect. But this combat seems very hit or miss. What's like a dodge? What's a perfect dodge? If something's gonna hit or not. If you can dodge roll out of an attack. Some of the attacks you can't like dodge roll out of well, or there's more of a delay when you're attacking to dodge roll out of an attack. So it's more annoying like that, and combat just feels a little rough. You stagger from goddamn everything. So each arrow an enemy hits you with, you stagger. Huge pain in the ass. Each light attack enemies hit you with, mostly, you will stagger, and it's not fun when you get surrounded by a ton of enemies, because there's a handful of areas where there are a ton of enemies, and then like you kind of have to pull off some BS, like skill BS, to actually kill them easily. So it could feel a little better like that. It does not feel good with staggers. But apart from that and combat feeling like a little off and floaty sometimes, it is really good. The invisible walls and a linear progression of the game might trigger some people, because like you see cool areas outside, and it's not like a Dark Souls game where you can jump off the side and die. No, you just hit an invisible wall. So you probably won't have to worry about falling to your death. Some areas do have big jumps from like a cliff onto the floor, and you take some fall damage, but I haven't found a single area where I've taken anywhere near a full life's worth of fall damage. And again, I've been playing this game for like 7 hours now. Oh yeah, 7 hours. Let me see how long it took me to beat the first area. Yeah, about four and a half hours to beat the first area. And then I just messed around in the second area for like 3-4 hours. So it's good. I like it, and I would definitely recommend it. I don't know if it's gonna be game of the year. It's a good contender for it though, especially for this style of game. And since there isn't going to be like an Elden Ring 2, there was only Elden Ring DLC. Yeah, it's probably pretty good. Okay, so I would buy this game. I did buy the game, and I would buy it again. I want to get to where I saw BoJack Horseman, because I think I was about to find him. Here he is, right? BoJack Horseman, just straight up tied to a pole. Yeah, you say hi to him, I think, in Chapter 1, and then he shows back up in Chapter 2. So I'm going to try and save all the NPCs, do all of the NPC things, and talk to all the NPCs. So far, I've done pretty well. And, you know, I've been having fun with it. But, like, here's BoJack Horseman, like, straight up tied up. It's a little spooky, but he freed himself. I saved him. He's good now. But, yeah. A lot of the areas, you have to jump around and just look around a lot, too, to find all the secret bosses. So it's fun. I like it. Is it game of the year? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. It is a really fun game, and it might be my game of the year if I don't end up playing too many new games this year. This and First Ascendant, right? But we'll see. So let me know what you think if you've played it, if you haven't played it, and I will continue playing it. Use Epic Games creator code Pupsker if you use the Epic Game Store. Check the game out on the Epic Game Store, Steam, wherever else you play games, right? On console, etc. And I will see you next time. Cheers, everybody.